Hello everyone, Switch Double here, and I want to be mentioned first one thing. I am back to health again. Well, not 100%. Probably more like a 90-95% of full of energy. Like I did mention in a previous channel update that I was having this flu last week. But I am much better now, and I know that many are still wondering if I will continue to make my love stories and true friends and etc. as normally. Yes, I will. But it is the introduction of my videos will not be the same speed as before, since I will still have to help around at home since my dad isn't feeling well. He just having this flu, and still I am still gonna be more trying to focus as much love stories that I can do. And I can inform that I actually had been worked on at least two love stories recently. One of them I still can be remembered was called Shora with Nebula. That particular story had been placed on my mind and hasn't been was planned to be made months ago. And somehow it slipped in my mind, forgot about it until yesterday when I found the folder on my computer which contained the picture with them. So I made that as an audio story. But you may still asking, when will my story be made? Well, a true reason is that I had so many stories that have been stored on my email. My girlfriend had found over 200 requests or has potential stories that she had found on Derpy Burrow and other places. And of course, and I even had many of my own stories that had been placed on hold. And to the fact that I was not feeling well only about a week ago, which also made the stop for any production of my videos for only that time. And even though now I'm much better, I can't promise if that I will continue to make these love stories as normally. Knowing that you had to meet to really understand, things can't be as fast as I normally do. Knowing that my dad isn't feeling well and I have to help around at home, so that but I will promise I will try to make as many stories as I can do. Knowing how much spare time I do have now, since I am not able to go to work for unknown time. You see, my supervisors are taking this corona times really seriously, which I respect, which I would have done the same, because they won't want to even try to maintain this spread as much as possible. Anyways, though, I will try to make as much love stories as being possible. Um, there is another few details that I not forgot to mention. It is my latest channel update that I was originally planned to do some sort of Thanksgiving special, but since the Thanksgiving was only yesterday, and since I have been helping around at home as much, I totally forgot to make that. And that I was also planning to do some sort of Christmas uh, uh, special holiday video based off on the Quizzer Girls for the first time. I'm not so sure if I will be able to do that. It depending first, of course, if well, depending first, of course, of if, how I will feeling much better later on, and if I could get sick again from a cold or something, or depending how much I have to help around at home. So many things can come between. I hadn't even worked on the script for the story yet because I just don't know if the story will be made this year. Or I know that many that for the past few years I had done some sort of holiday stories. Like for the past few years when I had done some Halloween special stories, and even my Christmas one. I know that there's kind of a better tradition by now, but sometimes things can't be predicted. Sometimes things are can happen that we don't can even predict. For example, like the corona happens right now. This is one thing we never could have ever expected to even happen. As my dad once mentioned to me, we should expect this kind of pandemic in the next 10 to 15 years. Some of them might be even worse than corona. Some of them might be maybe as just smaller version. I don't know. But anyways, I know that many wonders when will your story be made? Well, you made it. Yes, I will just not make the stories, but it does take time. I do have actually been making some remakes of uh, a few stories that actually been remade for the past few days, for the past few weeks, of Raven Musa from the Wings Club and Stella Brandon from Find the Wings Club. And I even had made one other love story that I recently had made. That was in fact, let's see if I can find that part. I know that we at least scroll script with Applejack. I know that there are still many love stories that have been, and I can also mention I did actually made a rarity with Cloud Chaser as an audio story. That is one of those most recent videos I had made. But there's still many more that will be made. But I can't tell for now if those stories will be all the new stories will be audio or text and music. I know that many prefers videos with text and music, but you will have to understand some of the stories might take time to make, and despite now I had still have around at home, and even there are small chores been taken care of, but even that I do have a lot more spare time since I don't go to work now to do it. Is the fact that my family has that my dad doesn't even feeling well. But anyways, I know that many wonders, will I continue to do love stories as I normally do? Yes. Even though that takes just a bit more longer time. But I cannot say for sure how many stories I would be able to do this end of this year. Since in my Q&A video, funny story that someone that actually had asked me how many stories I had planned to do for this, how many videos I have been would have made end of the year, which was impossible to tell because it was hard to tell. If I would say maybe a few dozens, maybe I don't know, but I still have many stories in mind to do. I just don't know exactly how many to be able to be made. It just it's hard to tell for now. If this corona never had happened, I probably had done the last stories as many as I normally do, but like I mentioned, it is hard to tell. And even if I not 100% recovered from the flu, maybe it's 90 to 95%, which is better than nothing, I mean. But there's still very much stories, so many stories that I had even been made yet. Some of them have been on my list for months, perhaps even over a year. But I know that there are so many stories that many had asked me before. Some of them have been lost over time, and I do mention this once again though. Since that YouTube will somehow reorganize its site for only a couple of years ago, I lost um, some of the requests that I had stored in the which is now is in the community section. Some of them were lost, and if I didn't know that this site was going to be somehow redesigned, reorganized for some part, I would have to take screenshots on those requests. But since I never found out about that much later on after that happened, so I'm sorry if many of your ideas never happened. But I try to promise to make as many love stories as I can. And I will try to maybe to continue to do some crossover stories, but I can't say for sure which love stories or true friend stories are crossovers, because there are actually, in fact, a few stories that I haven't been asked for, and some other stories I have planned to do myself. But there are, like I mentioned, there's many stories that I want to do, but it just takes time to do so. I just don't know exactly how many stories have been going to be made, but like I mentioned, this might take time, longer than I expected to. Some of your stories might not been posted on my channel this year. Maybe I don't know, probably sometimes next year perhaps, or maybe as later on, because as many people ask me their stories to be made, and I had to put some of them to the side for a moment to finish some of the stories I had been worked on and to post them, go back and forward, and that continues, and the list goes on. I mean, it's a long story. There's a long list, including the ones on my email and some of those people that has requests and some of my own stories. You never know actually how many stories I had in total. Even I don't know. But if I would guess, maybe as close to maybe 1,000 or more. I don't know. It can still be at least a couple of hundred, or maybe closer to 1,000 story requests, including the ones I lost. It just takes time. I just want to be able to be happy to be able to do to make those stories for you, your friends, your family who loves to watch my stories. Knowing that I have over 500 love stories in my love story channel list, which was more than I ever could expect it by now. And even though that's one of my smaller videos, that's only about 7 minutes long, Shining Armor, Cadence, A New Life, which has close to almost 800,000 views, that is an impressive. Even I don't even expect that much. I didn't even expect nearly 1 million views for one particular small video. But this proves that my channel is a great success within within the Brony fandom. Many of my subscribers, many viewers liked my stories, which I am really happy to do. But just it takes time to make one video, and especially now with my family needs my help from time to time, and that even though I have a lot more spare time to do a love story, it just I don't know from which story to make, and when I decide to do that, it's like my mind goes blank. I don't even know for which storyline to be made. Sometimes those answers quite easily. I can just look at the one picture and easily have a perfect storyline to be worked on, and it could in storyline just continue. But as for now, that part has been blanked. Basically, even if I have found a perfect story and I look at the picture and it just go completely blank, I don't have any storyline pop up. So I don't know if that particular story to be made. I had some stories that I plan to do with like Gilda with Spike, Luna with Maud Pie, Sunset Shimmer with Luna. I mean, there are so many stories. Knowing how many of those stories that it can be made, it just sometimes lately that my mind has gone blank on. I just I don't know if I will able to find out any particular storyline for that story. but those stories, including yours and that I have found, will be made. It just sometimes I lead to think, trying to reach out to my fantasy and bring back that grip again and try to put that fantasy, those storylines ideas I had once again, that I once had for one particular story, to put it on it and make it happen. It's just the magic, inspiration is what I need to be able to make the love stories to happen again. Sometimes the lack of inspiration makes it not happen. Also means lack of stories to be posted, but they will be made. That is a promise. And I just the only thing I need is to figure out which story to make. Knowing that so many stories I had in mind and so many has been asked before, all I need is to try to figure out what story to do. And hopefully the inspiration will be floating up as before, which means then the story will be made. It just takes a bit longer time though. But I do hope that everyone understands this, and once again, thank you everyone for listening. Even though this has going on for a little bit longer than I was planning to do, but I'm really hopeful that everyone understands and feels safer at the moment as I do. Once again, everyone, thank you for listening and stay safe. Thank you.